Roll call.
Commissioner Golden?
Here.
Commissioner Cordellis?
Here.
Mayor Fox?
Here.
Mr. Bittner? Here. Wire. Just doing, I forgot to turn the mic on. Can you all hear me if I don't turn this on? No. All right. Excuse me one second. Just to inform Mayor and Commissioners, we received two DEP permits for waterfront development, 227 R Avenue, and that was for Bridgeport Marina, that's the legalizing of their docks, and 694 and 696 West 26th Street, and that's to legalize the bulkhead and the docks at those locations.
Okay.
I do not have the previous meeting minutes prepared at this time. I will have them for the February meeting.
Okay.
This ordinance was tabled, so can I have a motion to take the ordinance number 576, 2019 off the table so we can act on it tonight?
Which ordinance is that? Don, I want to make sure we're on the same order.
576, it's the one for the sale of the land. We had to table it last meeting because Scott
That's right.
couldn't vote on it.
Right, okay.
So can I have a motion to take it off the table?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Golden?
Abstain.
Commissioner Corvellis?
Here.
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
This is the public hearing and second reading on ordinance number 576, 2019. It's an ordinance of the Borough of West Wildwood, County of Cape May, and State of New Jersey to sell borough-owned land to contiguous owners of Block 176, Lot 1, also known as 217 R Avenue.
Yes, at this time, I'll open the meeting for public comment in reference to this ordinance only. Hearing none, I close the portion of the meeting to the floor and look for a motion. Go ahead. We discussed this in the past, it's the ordinance that we purchased property on our avenue, or excuse me, we sold property to a contiguous landowner on our avenue that he wished to purchase was so many feet behind his property to the bulkhead. And I think we brought almost $16,000 in change.
$16,800.
$16,800 what the borough's going to get for this. I'm sorry, I just need your name and address for that. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, folks, to reference this ordinance?
Nancy Doherty, 215 R Avenue. Could you tell me the size of the lot that you're selling?
844 square feet, it says in the ordinance.
844 square feet. So that would, I guess it would be the width of the property and whatever comes to the bulkhead.
The width would be about 40 feet.
Yeah, so 40 feet, if you,
40 by 20,
40 by 20.
that area.
Well, yeah, about 40 by 20, somewhere in that area. Okay. Close this portion of the meeting to the floor. No other comments?
I have a motion.
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 Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Golden?
Abstain.
Commissioner Corvellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Ordinance 577, 2020. This is the first reading and introduction. This is amending ordinance 326 to establish general traffic regulations within the Borough of West Wildwood in conformance with Title 39 of the revised statute of New Jersey and the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices for streets and highways. What this is we noticed as the police department was going around that there is a stop sign that needs to be installed at R Avenue, where Pine and R intersect. And this is just giving approval to put that in. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Corvallis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-001 is authorizing purchases with vendors who are under current New Jersey state contracts. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Corvallis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-002 is a resolution to affirm the Borough of West Wildwood's civil rights policy with respect to all officials, appointees, employees, prospective employees, volunteers, independent contractors, and members of the public that come in contact with municipal employees, officials, and volunteers. This is a requirement for JIF that we do this every year. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-003 is authorizing the appointment of fire code official, assistant construction official, and mercantile license inspector for the Borough of West Wildwood. This is Dan Spiegel, who is currently in that position. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-004 is acknowledging the automatic renewal of the cooperative agreement with Houston Galveston Area Council. This is for co-op purchases. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-005 is authorizing the tax assessor of the Borough of West Wildwood to file regular appeals on behalf of the Borough of West Wildwood to the Cape May County Board of Taxation for the year 2020. That would be Joe Gallagher, our current tax assessor. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-006 is authorizing the appointment of deputy emergency management coordinators. This would be Thomas Maselli and Chris Ridings. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-007 is the appointment of deputy tax collector. That would be Ruth Sweeney, our current deputy tax collector. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-008 is appointing members to the West Wildwood Planning Board. There are no additional members. These are just, there's no vacancies at the present time. These are just appointees, annual appointments, and ones that were up for reappointment. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-009 is authorizing the appointment of emergency management coordinator, and that would be Chief Ferenc. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Abstain.
Resolution 2020-010 is the assignment of departmental powers and duties. This details the distribution of the Commissioner's departmental duties and powers. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-011 is a resolution appointing certain municipal representatives to the Atlantic County Joint Insurance Fund. That would be Elaine Crowley, who will be the fund commissioner and also the claims coordinator. Carl O'Hara is the alternate fund commissioner, and I am the alternate claims coordinator. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
These are late or additional agenda items. This is the first reading of ordinance number 578, 2020. This is a bond ordinance for providing for sewer utility improvements on Poplar Avenue in and by the Borough of West Wildwood in the County of Cape May, New Jersey, appropriating $1,750,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,750,000 in bonds or notes of the borough to finance the cost thereof. May I have a motion on the first reading?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbelo?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
A note on that, we will be needing to have a special meeting with regards to that because part of this is the DOT grant money that we have that has to be, the bid has to go out and it has to be awarded. So
we get the project going. Yes.
By February. So I was going to ask if Thursday, January the 23rd at 9 a.m. would work for a second reading on this ordinance.
Is 9 good with you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Scott, you good with
I think I am. Yeah, we'll go with it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? And I'll properly advertise that. I just needed, we're very tight on the time on the dates.
Okay, and that's
Okay.
important, so that's good.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Resolution 2020-012 is amending Resolution 2019-079, authorizing the application for funding from the Governor's Council in Alcoholism and Drug Abuse for the Greater Wildwood Municipal Alliance for the grant cycle 2020-2021. What happened with this, we introduced this back, well, in 2019, obviously. And our match was supposed to be $625, and that's what we authorized to pay. And then they let us know that our match was actually lower. So we have to do an amendment to that resolution. So we're actually going to pay $612.27. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-013. Which Wednesday of the month?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm
That's
okay
fine with me.
Okay.
At 5 p.m.
Yes.
That works for your work, all right?
Yes, with my
Okay.
work. Yep.
Okay.
My kids.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-014 is authorizing the advertisement for qualifications and proposals for information technology support services. This is our IT computer guy. May I have a motion to advertise for qualifications and proposals?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-015 is authorizing the borough engineer to advertise for formal bids for the reconstruction of Poplar Avenue. This is the grant money that I was talking about. It's from Arion to J Avenue, and the grant is in the sum of $156,000. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-016 is requesting permission from the Cape May County Board of Chosen Freeholders and the county engineer to permit limited parking on Glenwood Avenue. That would be 525 West Glenwood Avenue, the golf course. And Mayor, you can explain that if you like.
Yeah, what it is, the golf course has enough time, trouble as is getting a lot of business because of parking issues. So they sent me a letter a few months ago and asking if we could make limited parking in front of their property, and we decided to go with 1 hour parking. So starting Memorial Day to Labor Day, our hope is if the county agrees that we can do this, we'll have 1 hour parking in front of that property from Memorial Day to Labor Day between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-017 is the acceptance of the project known as USDA Rural Development Search Grant for the existing sanitary sewer system. And for those of you who have been here at past meetings, we've got a $30,000 grant for cameras to go into the sewer system. That project has been completed by the engineers. They have certified that they have expended those funds, and this is for us to get the money in the borough's coffers, so to speak. So we have to do this in order for them to pay us the $30,000. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-018, authorizing the awarding of a non-fair and open contract for professional services of special counsel. That would be for Jeffrey Shurian and Associates. This is the firm that's handling our COA and Fair Share Housing Act that we've been working on for the last several months. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
I have one more resolution, Mayor, but I think you're going to go through the meeting and then we'll come back to it. It's authorizing a closed executive session meeting for matters of active litigation regarding COA and Fair Share Housing. I'll reread that after we go through the rest of the, meeting.
Okay.
May I have a motion to approve the bills when properly signed and endorsed?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Curbellis?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Reports from commissioners.
Okay, I don't have a report from my Public Works Department. They're shorthanded right now, and I've allowed them to not give the report. They're busy out in the street. So that being said, one of the things I want to talk about is that there's a gentleman here, I don't know if he's here tonight, that he talked about sewer caps the last meeting, going around and checking them. We did have Public Works go out and check them. The majority of them were not really sewer related into the sewer system, but there were quite a few that did not have caps, and they are being addressed as we speak. So I want to thank him for bringing that to our attention again, and we took care of that. The other item is when we talk about this sewer grant project we're talking about, it goes from Arion Avenue, Poplar, to G Avenue. We have grant money for Poplar around Arion, and we also have DOT money for G Avenue. And we're trying to connect G to Arion all along Poplar when it comes to sewer and any type of road work, curb work, and sidewalks. So that's the money you see that we're trying to bond and connect it with grant money to try and get these sewer issues taken care of and these manhole problems throughout the borough. So that's where we're starting. There's a couple other streets that are on that. A Avenue we have grant money for. We're not talking about that right now. There's some areas over on Maple, Pine, and Lake Road as well. But this is the first area we're going to address because we do have them in phases. But it's all good stuff. Some of it's grant. A lot of it's loan. It's a long-term loan, like 30 or 40 years. So these are things we need to do because our sewer system, after the camera system was done, it's showing bellies in the pipes, and it's showing disconnected areas where they couple together and where they go into manholes. So it's time to move forward to do this. There'll be an expense with it, but we will move forward and do it in phases to see that it all puts together, and hopefully it won't be too much of a burden on the taxpayers. Before I open the meeting to the floor, I'm sorry, you got your activity report. Go ahead.
Okay, police activity report for the month of December 2019. 411 property checks, 28 backup officer calls, 25 direct patrols, 10 general complaints, 8 direct walking beats, 8 assisting other agencies, 7 medical emergency assist, 5 welfare checks, 5 alarm burglar panic calls, 4 follow-up investigations, 4 administrative calls, 3 parking complaint violation, 3 open door complaints, 3 motor vehicle stops, 2 open door window property complaint, 2 gas leak odor complaints, 1 water leak, 1 verbal dispute, 1 suspicious vehicle, 1 suspicious persons, 1 parking violation, 1 noise complaint, 1 mental case, 1 harassment, 1 fraud identity theft, 1 error CAD code, and 1 animal complaint. A total of 536 calls for service for December 2019.
Thank you, Commissioner Golden. Commissioner Corbellis?
Yes, I've been sitting down with the COF in the next couple
CFO.
weeks.
CFO.
COF. And the next couple weeks, we will be starting the new budget. In the next couple weeks, I also will be sitting down with the auditors and going over everything with that. So at our next meeting, I will be able to keep you updated on that also.
Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, anything else for the folks before I open the meeting to the floor? Scott, you all right?
I'm good.
Okay. At this time, I'll open the meeting to the floor for any comment from you folks. Yes, sir, name and address.
Charles Peacock, 507 West Poplar. Before we start, the young lady that's in our solicitor's seat, is she a representative from our
Yes,
solicitor?
yes, she is. She's Mary Bittner. She's our new solicitor, yes.
Oh, from what firm? The one where the 2 gentlemen have been here? Caravan and the other one?
No, I'm not from their firm. I'm an employee of the borough.
She's our new
Now there's
solicitor.
an employee that's our attorney?
Correct.
Wow. And how did that take place, that contract and all that? I mean, the contract was ended, the retainer was ended?
Correct.
So they're not doing any legal business running?
They are in charge, they handle labor and tax appeals.
Labor and tax?
Yes.
And so is it Mrs. Bittner? Mrs. Bittner or Miss or, I don't know how to refer to you, Mrs.?
Solicitor Bittner's fine.
Ms.
Pardon me?
Bittner's fine.
I'm sorry?
Ms. Bittner is fine.
Ms. So she's now a full-time employee, and we now have the legal advisor being an employee in the borough, which reports to the commissioners and to you.
That is correct.
What happened to our attempt at trying to maintain arm's length? I mean, You know, like, sometimes counselors are supposed to say things that sometimes their boss doesn't want to hear, or at least the person that pays for their retainer. Are we going to have a free and open exchange? If something is not right, is our solicitor going to feel very comfortable about going to her boss who does her eval and tell him that he's not doing the job correctly? Or maybe this is a poor decision, or?
I would think that she would do exactly that, as would the other solicitors.
In that matter.
I've known her enough years to know she would not have any reluctance in that matter, I can tell you that.
Oh, you've
She-
known her for a number of years?
That's right. She's a good attorney, she's be very good for this borough, yes.
Is she a family member?
No. If she was a family member, I don't think I would be able to hire her,
I don't know,
so.
I'm asking. 'Cause I know nothing about her. We didn't
No,
get
I-
anything in the mail about us hiring a new solicitor.
I don't think you get anything in the mail when we hire other employees either.
I'm sorry?
I don't know if we get anything in the mail when we hire other employees.
Well, we learned that a police officer was being hired. in
But you
a
got
public
something in the mail for that?
We learned that 2 of our employees resigned in a public meeting. You know, I mean, we thought that
Well,
an employee is one thing, but our solicitor, you know, that's a high-ranking role.
Well, you missed the last meeting, we discussed her hiring.
Okay, now I have a problem with something that was explained to us a while ago in meetings. We asked that if we recognize that you're not, and the commissioners are not doing something that's correct or right in people's minds, and we bring that to the attention, I asked the solicitor at the time, you know, who do you work for? And he said, well, I work for these guys. And I said, well, what do we do if we have that issue or problem? And he said, I guess you have to hire your own attorney. Is that true with this now? If we've got a legal issue with the executors or executives, that we set an appointment with you, Mary, Ms. Bittner, and call you up and say, we got a problem, can we talk about it? Is that what we do? Or is that within the parameters of her solicitation job, solicitor job?
Would you like me to respond?
You said you asked me if we may?
Yes, may I respond?
Yes, you can.
Mr. Chatpak,
Chief Backus.
Chipak, you may not be aware, but a number of municipalities around the state have in-house solicitors. So it's very common.
I understand it to be common. just didn't
And to
understand
answer
not
your
fully.
question, I work for the Board of Commissioners. If you have an issue that you need private legal counsel for, you hire private legal counsel. You would not get legal advice from me.
I would contend that that doesn't sound correct to me, Ms. Bittner. I'll tell you why, because when there was a contract and that person said, I'm supposed to represent these guys, you guys gotta get your own lawyer, you're now an employee of the borough that's paid with our funds, our citizens' funds, our tax dollars. How is it that we can not talk to you about things now as we would with Ms. Frederick if we've got a problem or a question with the clerk?
Well, as I said, a number of municipalities in the state have this arrangement. It's not uncommon, and they do not give legal advice to the public.
We're not asking for legal advice to the public, that would be personal. We're talking about advice that would be a part of our business here in the borough.
I don't understand your question.
You're hired as an employee to work for them and have nothing to do with the citizenry. It's like having a trash collector that says he's only going to go to one address to collect trash, and he doesn't go to everyone else, yet we're paying the salary for that service. Or someone that's fixing the streets, or you see, there's an employee relationship that we have. When I come to the window to talk about a tax issue, an employee comes up to me and says, here, there's a tax issue. If I have a legal issue, do I talk to you?
No.
Well, how is it that
if you have a problem, you go-
want to do things for the salary that you're getting? By the way, what is the salary?
You're going to go to the clerk's office, if you have an issue, you give your complaint to the clerk's office, and she will pass it on to the commissioners, and the commissioner will exercise the right, whether we need to go to Ms. Bittner or not, to get the answer for you. That's
You're
how
the
it works.
problem.
No,
Like,
you're the problem.
we're
You
the
keep
ones-
saying that.
you're the problem.
No, the problem is you don't want to follow the rules. That's the way the
You're not
rules are.
following the rules.
So,
Come on, you haven't followed the
and we'll
rules in
debate
19
that.
months.
So you go to the clerk's office, you make your complaint, we go from there. That's what we do. And that was the same way with Bill Blaney.
And I want to say to our employee that we've got a problem with commissioners, and you're telling me there's no voice that can happen there.
That's right.
So services are being provided for you personally,
That's what solicitors are hired for, to protect
And we're
us
paying for it.
and you,
and we're paying for it.
and you. That's what, That's what the solicitor's for.
And if you get a ticket, do you get her to work on your behalf for that ticket? Is she your legal counsel for that purpose?
That's personal. No, the answer would be no.
No
And
personal.
you already know that's the answer to
I'm
that.
sorry, I don't know that.
You do know that.
Not when I walk in
Yes,
here
sir.
and you tell me an employee doesn't work for the committee, for the community, but she's getting a salary by the community's tax dollars. That's not a service that's contracted for.
By law, it is. Yes, it is.
And I heard you say that other municipalities do it. It's just that I have a question, Ms. Bittner, about the validity of whether or not it's true or not, that we can get services from you as a community versus just you sitting there working for. Okay, so what's the salary?
$60,000 a year.
$60,000.
Yes,
And benefit package?
absolutely.
Like, so you're full-time?
Yes.
I'm a full-time employee.
Full-time employee, so you get all the benefits. So what's that now, about 80, 82,000?
I'd say about 75,000, somewhere around there.
75,000, 130%, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned roads being fixed. The one complaint I always have with roads anywhere that come back and to be repaired after they were paved within a short period of time, that there's always left a sunk hole or a sinkhole somewhere because the contractor's never made to make sure that they bring that to the current elevation. And all we have is bump, 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 all the way down a new paved road. Is it possible that when we get all the contracting work done, that we can put that into our punch list of items? That they have a responsibility within I know there's settlement, I know all those things happen, but is there a possibility to say we don't pay the final tranche until we get a good feeling that that thing is not going to collapse on us?
Well, there's a time limit you have in order to pay, and they have, not bonds, but Mary, which is the word I'm looking for to make sure the contingency of before we pay it all out, we can hold the money back until we know the project's complete. No. I'm sorry? Some type of retainage, but there's a wording for it. But anyway, so we do that. So the problem is some of these sinkholes you're talking about come later, after everybody's paid, and now you have nothing to go back on, other than maybe go after them for insurance reasons. And that's been done in the past. But yes, we agree with you that we do follow up with that, and that's in the engineer's hands, because they're the ones that sign off on everything when the project's complete.
But is that a specific item in the request for proposal? That you must make sure that the elevation is maintained after you dig the hole, you bring everything out, you fix the pipe, and then you compact and you put the proper fill in, because a lot of this is done with shoddiness, and they cut corners, and they don't compact, and next thing you know, in a 6-month period, you've got drop.
Right.
So it's only a concern.
And it's in there.
It's in there.
It's in there, and the compaction is the thing you're talking about. If they're supposed to compact 6 inches every 6 inches, and they're doing a foot or two at a time because the engineer, the inspector's not watching, that's where the problems occur. So you're right, but it's in there.
But somebody came down and cut all the patches in the road that we moved down on Poplar, and they're now sunk.
Right.
They came and put like a 3x3 square, and I don't even know who, because I wasn't here when they were being done.
Right. The gas company did that, yes.
The gas company.
Right.
Do we have any recourse to the gas company to say, hey,
Well, I know we've had contact with the gas company because the age of the road, there's some, whether they have to come back and patch it in full, but we also know in Poplar that we're repaving this street anyway and coming back, because you might even have the water utility come in and change some pipes as well. But if it's a brand-new road, there's a moratorium, and if they have to go in there, there's provisions to pave either half of the road or the entire road from curb to curb.
but I think we were just done like the last 2 years,
On Poplar?
from Venice up.
Right, the 500
Yeah,
block.
500 block, yeah.
2 years maybe?
Yeah, it's been, yeah, only a
So
few
then,
years, yeah.
They came right back in with a.
Yeah, and
I was shocked. I came down, I'm looking at squares in the road, and I said, I can't believe it. Where's the coordination?
Yeah, well, I believe in them roads there, and they're supposed to come back and pave, not these strips are supposed to go in, they're supposed to pave like the width of a paver, like they got, and pave it that way, so.
Our kids loved the cut glass that was in the old road. Can we get that back?
They
We have
did,
mass collections of it.
they did, it's true,
Sparkle.
It was great
that's
stuff.
true.
I have a question about whether or not you really have our backs on that, making sure and holding, contractors to the accountability of making sure that they do what they're supposed to do. And, whoever our project manager is, and I wouldn't leave it up to the engineer, because, he's got a punch list, but somebody's got to say, look, we're not going to tolerate if that thing starts to sink. So you've got to make sure that they do their job. And in fact, you know, I would say our solicitors should be aware of that because we should be bringing a lawsuit against a contractor that doesn't fulfill the whole requirement, so. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Happy
Yes,
New Year.
To you too,
Happy
Well.
New Year.
Helen Reyes, 741, Happy New Year.
You don't sound too happy.
Speak up. Donna, this question is for you. You had read off a resolution about an appointment of Chris Ridings. What was that about?
That's-
Deputy OEM coordinator.
Deputy OE.
Office of Emergency Management.
So, can you explain what that role is? Is there a salary? Is
That's
he
actually your comment, so.
paid? What's the
That's kind
detail?
of, you want me to do it or not? You got it?
Yeah.
It's the Office of Emergency Management is a volunteer position that the county allows you to have, and you have he was originally the coordinator of emergency management, but you have to be here full-time in order to continue to do, because he's not here all the time, but he is a resident, you can make him a deputy, and anybody can be a deputy, but the actual coordinator has to be a full-time resident of the borough. And Chris does a terrific job as a volunteer, and he wanted to stay in that role, and we allowed that to happen, so yes.
So he's as a volunteer?
Yes.
Okay, and then my other question is for Ms. Bittner. So you're now the full-time employee of the borough. Can you provide some examples of what your responsibilities entail in that role?
May I answer that? Draft ordinances and resolutions.
Can you speak up?
Draft ordinances and resolutions, review contracts, review current litigation, oversee it, supervise it, those type of things.
So you're involved in current litigation? You
I'd
have
be
a
responsible
role?
for supervising it and reporting to the commissioners on what outside counsel are doing or what JIF counsel are doing.
Okay, so, you are coordinating with the other attorneys that we hire or that are that hired by our insurance company for, various, lawsuits that are filed against us. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so, and you said about resolutions, we're familiar with the resolutions that you drafted up as it pertains to the Perez case. Do you also review employee handbooks and things of that nature, making sure that the manuals and employee handbooks are in line with what's recommended by the judge?
I can't speak for what the commissioners will request. I do.
Do you make suggestions to them about best practices?
If I'm asked to review something like that, I will.
So, but you wouldn't make a recommendation and say, hey, you don't have a policy about supervisor and supervisee relationships or employee relationships. That's something that should be added to the employee manual as a policy, that it wouldn't be tolerated because it could result in a lawsuit. You wouldn't make that recommendation?
I would make recommendations consistent with law, current law, and what JIF recommends as far as employee manuals and policies go.
But you don't feel that that's good practice?
What is your question? You're asking me now to give my legal opinion on something? I'm not going to do
I'm
that.
asking you what you think best practice is.
I'm not going to give my legal opinion about best practices here in a public meeting. I give my legal opinion to the Board of Commissioners.
Okay, so that answers your question.
Yes.
St. Jack, 753 West
Thank
Hollywood. Ms. Bittner, is there a, you know, we had these other lawyers for this and that we were carrying, yeah, whatever. And is there any sit down that you have with them to say, now listen, you know, I know this happened at this meeting and this happened, and what information will, you know, do you anticipate? You know, they might want to follow up. I might want to follow up on something that was discussed with a former barrister, okay? Well, I feel like I'm a teacher. Like, all that was a waste, all that was, you know, and it was good, it was good stuff. You have the files, you have the files and
How
all
was
the.
it transition from them to
Yeah,
her?
yeah.
I don't have all the files right now. I have some of the files, and I was advised I would be receiving all the files shortly.
As a lawyer, I don't know if you're allowed to confer them, or what do you think about this, or what did you say about this? Is there any of that?
I'm entitled to confer with prior counsel.
Welcome aboard.
Helen Reyes, 741 West Poplar. Are you working with the conflict resolution attorney?
I'm sorry?
We have a conflict resolution attorney. Are you working with that attorney?
I'm not sure which attorney you're referring to.
So you're the legal counsel and you don't know about the
He's talking about
attorneys
John.
the borough's hired?
Oh, for the labor issue?
No?
Yeah,
For
John
the
with the
Brady
Dodd
letter.
issue, which you can't, that's
For the Brady letter.
the Dodd issue.
That's hers.
Yes.
Am I working with him? No, I'm not working with him. He's handling that.
But you said that you will consult with attorneys representing us in various matters. They're working, we're paying their salaries for the borough, for the Brady letters that they're trying to resolve the conflict with, I guess. So you're not involved with that in any way?
I am becoming aware of that, and I do have some files on that, but I'm not completely up to speed on that as of now.
So your role with that will be coordinating information or assisting them or reporting up to the commissioners? What will you do?
I'm not sure what they'll need and how responsibilities will be handled on that case yet. I'm not up to speed on that.
Are you familiar with that type of litigation? Could you maybe save us some money from maybe you taking that role on instead of hiring a specialist in that area?
As far as I'm aware of that, that wouldn't be appropriate for this. That's prosecuting a,
Well, Labor Council would normally handle it, but there was a conflict with Bill Blaney. That's why it was issued out to a conflict. That's the decision the commissioners made. That would not be a decision that Ms. Bittner gets to make. Yes.
Mary Ann Walsh, 741 West Poplar. So I guess I'm a little confused because previously the solicitors were on retainer, okay? And then in the new year, you hired Ms. Bittner as a full-time employee. And I guess as on retainer, they were more part-time or as needed. So now Ms. Bittner has full-time status, but yet we're still paying for a conflict counsel, we're still paying for a labor counsel,
Mhm.
and you just mentioned a COA, a lawyer can handle the COA issue. So I guess I'm confused because if she's full-time, why wouldn't she take on these duties and eliminate those extra costs? I don't understand.
As of right now, and that was discussed at the last meeting, and as of right now, that's not what we're going to do because the COA is going on as we speak, and the attorney that's handling it is up to date with it, and to dump it off on Ms. Bittner now would be, let me finish. The COA, so that attorney's going to handle that because we're close to finishing that. So to go dump it in the hands of Ms. Bittner would only start the process over again, so we're not going to do that. As it comes to,
You said that Caravan, or no, you said that there was someone else that was handling the COA. Didn't we just pass an ordinance or a resolution for a COA council, Donna?
Correct.
Okay, and that wasn't Caravan, was it?
No, it was Jeffrey Serenian,
So wait a minute.
and he is the current one that's been handling that.
right.
With Caravan, right?
Well, no, he
No.
was hired to handle that specifically because it's a very, he knows all the ins and outs on that. It's a very specialized area.
Okay.
He was hired originally to handle that from the onset.
Okay, so I guess I'm still confused. If she will be our full-time in-house solicitor, but yet we're paying all these other legal people for services, why can't she absorb some of that work?
When the time comes and she's up to par and we know that she's capable of, she's got a lot to do now. And when we feel, when the commissioners feel the time that she can handle labor, if that be the case, we'll look to pass on to her. But until that time, we're not going to do that.
Okay, so Ms. Bittner's experience, she was not experienced enough to handle labor issues? I mean, where she came from? So did we hire somebody inexperienced?
No, she's very experienced.
So she can't take that on now?
I don't think right now, no. And that's my decision.
Oh, okay. I have another question. You mentioned that it's not unusual for municipalities to have in-house labor or lawyers, whatever. Okay. I would find it hard to believe that a municipality this size, there would be any other municipalities this size that would have a full-time labor council. Can you give me an example of some of those?
I don't, my feeling is this, for the price that we paid for Ms. Bittner and the services rendered, is it good? It's good for the borough to have attorneys sitting here. I can't even tell you, just in the last week or so, with the CFO, the clerk, myself, Commissioner Golden, Commissioner Cabellas have approached her with different questions on some issues, and it's just nice to have her there to answer the questions and to prepare this and to prepare that. It's an asset to us for the price we're paying. I get it if we were paying $100-some thousand or $200,000, I get it, but for what we're paying her is a good, pardon me?
We're paying
$75,000, and that's a bargain for an attorney to sit there and go over the things and look at the things that may be a problem, that you believe is a problem, and we're going to try and fix these issues, and then slowly, if we feel the need that she can handle labor later, we'll look at that. The COA is almost complete, so we're going to finish with the attorney we have now, or the firm, to finish the COA project, and as to the conflict attorney, they're already in place, and that has to do a lot to do with labor, and the labor attorney, which is Bill Blaney, had a conflict, and this attorney's already handled it, and we're not going to go change up midstream. We want things to move ahead as they are, and we'll deal with them later.
How much did we pay Caravan next year?
I don't know.
35,000.
Okay.
Okay, so it's,
Tell me,
So, Joe Klein, 750 West Poplar. We did pay Caravan 35, and now we're paying, north of 80,000, which is a bargain, I agree. But it just, Ms. Bittner, I'm just kind of wondering, most attorneys make 80,000 and a quarter of a year. I'm just curious why you're doing it, to give us, your services for so cheap.
Well, I've been practicing for 23 years. I've worked with the state of New Jersey for a number of municipalities, and these commissioners, I'm new with Commissioner Corbolas, but Commissioner Golden and Mayor Fox, I have the utmost respect for. There's no other politicians I'd rather work for. I love this community, and I'm excited about the job.
Okay, so you're not doing any other pro bono work while you're sitting in the chair here full-time, doing other work with other clients, private work at all?
No, I'm not, and I do not need to.
So at the end of the year, when we look at the books, we're gonna see 60,000 plus your benefits at the end of the year. Is that gonna be correct?
That would be correct.
So there's not gonna be any, we give her overtime?
No.
And we're doing this, and we're doing that?
No.
Month per salary, okay. Now, you said that the commissioners last week at the workshop, that the other two commissioners had nothing to do with the hire.
That's correct.
That was your decision.
Were they aware of it? Yes.
Yeah, so is she a public works employee?
She falls under my department, so yes, you could say she's a solicitor for the borough, but she falls under the Public Works Department, yes.
So, yeah. It's just unusual.
Very unusual. Gabe, go ahead.
So the budget's coming out,
I thought you were done.
coming out of the Public Works budget?
No, she's going to be, the law division falls under my department, and it'll come out of law. Just like, yeah, it won't be actually the Public Works budget. Her department falls under my department as mayor. let's be clear. Okay. Yes, Nancy.
Doherty, 215 R Avenue. A few months ago, Commissioner Golden, didn't you say that, I believe it was Solicitor Bittner had advised you not to listen to the insurance company when we had the lawsuit with the police chief?
I had said we had taken-
her for...
I did
for
not
your
specifically
decision?
point the blame at Solicitor Bittner. I said that I had taken the advice that the attorney had given me.
You blamed her
So,
like you.
And if,
It wasn't your
if it
fault,
came...
she advised you, that's what you said.
No, the final decisions that I make are the final decisions that I make. She is our legal counsel and was the legal counsel at the time during that process, and myself and former commissioner followed the advice of Solicitor Bittner and did what we felt was right.
So in other words, what she had told you was wrong? We did
No,
lose the
Solicitor
lawsuit?
Bittner gave us 3 or 4 different options at the time. So
You
not
didn't say
not
that.
options, I wouldn't say, there was 3 or 4 different draft resolutions that we could have went with, and we went with the wording on the resolution, myself and Commissioner Maxwell at the time, to explain the story of what was going on here. So it was open to the public so they knew what was going on. That's why it was worded that way. And that was the resolution that we chose, and that was it.
On the Poplar Avenue work, and glad we're getting that money and doing that work. I heard you say curbs and sanitary sewer.
Yes.
work. Are they doing any storm sewer work?
As of right now, there's nothing in that project. Are we looking into it? Because we have several months to look into it. It comes down to what we can afford to do. We're going to look at it. If it's bad, we're going to try to replace it, but it will create more debt. So we're going to wait till we get in there, see what it looks like, and go from there. But yes, there's a possibility
The
that.
decision to do from area to J, was that based on the engineer's report, if like this is the worst area?
No, area and the J, the reason why we're doing that is because right now, that grant that we have now is the one that we received a year or so ago, and it's coming to where we have to get that awarded, so we're putting that out now because it has to be awarded soon, and then we're going to connect it to everything to G Avenue. Okay? Yes.
Your name was 741 West Poplar. Scott, getting back to your recent comment about the wording on the resolution, so I guess, you all went up to the local services in New Jersey, Trenton, to local services finance board, and you had a meeting you were trying to get a bond issued, okay, and you had a meeting with Mr. Cunningham, who was the chairman of the local services finance board, and he made a comment, and this is straight from the minutes, okay? Mr. Cunningham said that he found the language that Ms. Bittner included in Resolution 2012-046 encouraging Jackie Ferenz to file a counterclaim as unconscionable, okay? So I want to understand why we would risk hiring Ms. Bittner to represent the borough and the taxpayers and have a situation like that occur again. Or can you explain that to me, why you would, support?
I have the utmost respect for Ms. Bittner, number one. And I worked with her, was it 8 years ago here as a solicitor?
Right.
I feel that
And
the
we're-
advice, I feel that the advice she gave us is honest, it's across the board, it's the way it's supposed to be. Just because the guy at the local ethics board didn't
Local
agree.
finance board.
Local finance board, I'm sorry, didn't agree with the wording of something, he wasn't here to understand exactly what was going
Well, wait a
on.
minute, But the GIF didn't agree with that either.
Well, again,
Okay?
that,
I mean, it
again,
went
that's the
against-
decision that.
It went against what the GIF said we should do, okay? This is our problem, okay? Ms. Bittner, with the resolution she prepared, okay, and with you and Maxwell signing off on this, you put us in a position that we have to pay out $1.7 million.
Well, the reason we signed off on that resolution and chose that resolution is because that lawsuit could have went 6 different ways. And that's what we were
We
advised
want the
of.
public to be.
So,
no,
and that's
Right,
basically.
exactly, Jim would have paid it. Jim would have paid it.
At that time, when we did that, the JIF was
I
not
disagree.
out of the lawsuit, so
Because
that's
of
where
the
it is.
resolutions that were passed.
So,
Right. So, okay, so you support hiring an individual that put us in the situation that we're now with $1.7 million that we applied.
I'm not gonna blame Solicitor Bittner for putting us in
I
that
know,
position,
she's not
because
a-
myself
you're
and
right,
Commissioner
it's not her
Maxwell
only.
made that decision.
Yourself, Mr.
Okay,
Maxwell, and Mr.
so,
Fox.
but again, we did follow legal advice, but I support the
And her
hiring of
legal
Mrs.
advice
Bittner.
was to, she prepared that resolution, right?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
She prepared, as a solicitor for the borough, she prepared that resolution, and you all signed off on that.
She prepared
She
three
prepared
different
three
resolutions, and they chose one of the three.
Right.
Okay, so we're
And
clear.
she's
So she didn't strong arm them and say, sign this
She
resolution.
supposedly explained the repercussions of those resolutions.
And so she advised the commissioners, correct? And they made a decision. So the decisions were made by the commissioners, and that's the decision that stands, not Ms. Bittner's decision. Yes.
I have a question for Amy. Okay, Amy, at the December meeting, you recommended that we all move on. right?
Correct? Yep.
Do you feel that by hiring Ms. Bittner, that we can move on?
Absolutely, I do.
Really?
I-
Can you explain?
Sure. I got to know Mary very well, and I think she's an asset for us. I think she's going to help us out. Like putting the past behind us, that's what I want to do. I think she'll do a great job. Everybody just needs to give her a chance.
Okay, but she had nothing to do with putting us in the position of paying out $1.7 million and losing the business.
I wasn't involved in that.
Right, but wait a minute, you were a taxpayer.
I agree with that. But I agree with that. But what I'm going to sit here and say is like, the last meeting that I sat at, I said, why can't we just all move forward? We're going to keep living in the past. We're not moving forward doing it this way. And it's not her fault.
Oh, it is her, it's partially her fault, she prepared the resolutions.
That's her job.
At the end
That
of
was
the
her
day,
job as a
that
producer.
was,
But shouldn't her job have been to say, hey, if you sign this resolution, you're gonna lose JIF insurance coverage. Do not sign this, as an attorney, I would not, I don't think that this would be the right resolution.
And again,
You would lose
just like Cunningham, he made a decision, made a statement in the paper of something that there was hours and hours and hours of discussion, I'm sure, made in that room back there, and whether it was with JIF, other attorneys, that went on for probably a couple of thousand hours of time, and he makes a quote on 5-minute decision. Just like now, we weren't in that back room. There was more that was said in that back room, I'm sure, that we know right now. So let's blame it on Ms. Bittner when there was more to it, okay? But like what she's, and again, we cannot change the past. And like the Commissioner's saying, it's time to let it go and move on. Okay, let's go. Let her do her job.
Were other people interviewed for this position? No. Were other people interviewed for the position?
No,
Was it posted?
no.
Is it appointed?
It wasn't posted?
Kate Sampson, 2050 Avenue. This is some of the things that we discussed at the.
All right, ma'am, the question to us, please.
2050 Avenue, Kate Sampson. This is some of the stuff that we discussed at the previous meeting on December 30th. Ms. Bittner, you are synonymous with the Ferenz lawsuit. And for those of us who are very upset about having to pay the $1 million, unfortunately, you're very much connected to it. So that was my question to the commissioners at the last meeting. Did you interview anybody else? Why would you, as you asked us to move forward about this lawsuit, then they hired an attorney that was part of the lawsuit that we ended up losing because of whatever, that's how we feel. We definitely do feel that way. And the other thing is, we never needed in-house counsel until, my understanding is your job in Wildwood went away, and now all of a sudden it's in the best interest of West Wildwood to have in-house counsel. So my thing is, it's all, all the same. Again, hiring people, your friends and your family. Is she the best person for the job under the circumstances of what we've been through? Not many, I'm not really sure about that. So you ask us to move forward, but that doesn't feel that way when you do this. So unfortunately for you,
that's how some of us see it. Not everybody, there are other people who think this decision is fine, but, again, this is solely Mayor Fox's decision. You and him have known each other for how many years? There was nobody else interviewed for the position. And again, and I was told that your job went away in Wildwood, well now, so West Wildwood is more than glad to hire an in-house counsel when for many, many years we were doing the contracted thing and it worked fine, but now we're gonna pay more money for somebody else. So, I mean, that's how we see it.
Well, it's funny
Whether-
because it was only several months ago that one of you made a comment that, why do you guys keep switching, why is this there a different solicitor every month? This guy shows up, this guy shows up. So now we get to the point where we put somebody here. Ms. Sajak, as a matter of fact, it was you that made the statement. Okay.
And they were all part of the same firm, though.
Okay, it doesn't matter. You can, so now we have a solicitor will be here every month that you relate to. We're paying double.
There was something about independent as well, having somebody in-house that's connected to you.
Listen,
Particularly.
but their job was to answer to the commissioners, just as Ms. Bittner is as well.
But
There's no
they
difference.
weren't here for everyday operation.
And-
There was some arm's length between you and the previous solicitor.
and the arm's length-
You are her boss.
We were their boss too.
These are the things that we worry about that, get us into trouble more
Okay.
than once before.
Well, let's
And
give it a
you don't
chance and
seem
see
to
what kind of
care.
trouble we get. Okay, let's just give it a chance, we'll see how it goes, yes.
Hi, Susan Scolina, 547 West Maple. I have a couple questions, so just indulge me, please. Resolution 2020-007 regarding the deputy OEM, which is Chris Ridings.
Yeah, and I think Tom Michelli, but there should,
Okay, well-
okay,
I'm just referring to Chris.
okay.
I thought I heard you say that he must be a full-time resident.
No, I said it's in order to be the coordinator, it has to be a resident that's here all the time in order to do, where he's not here all the time. He's a resident, but he's up with his wife wherever he works now,
Okay,
so,
I must have
Yes.
not heard that correctly, I apologize.
yes.
The ethics violations, is there any movement on that yet?
None.
This is for Ms. Bittner. How many current lawsuits are we involved in?
Well, we have the action, the COA action, which isn't technically a lawsuit, but it could qualify as litigation. And then we have one civil action against the borough.
What is that? What's the name of it?
The name?
Is that the Palmer Barrow case?
Well, the Palmbaro, but I was talking about Mowini.
Oh, Montwinney, okay, yeah. That's where they were going, I think.
Excuse me?
I think that's what you were asking for, Montwinney's case, is that what you're asking for?
No, I was just wondering how
Okay.
many we had.
Well,
So we have the COA, which is not necessarily a lawsuit, what you said, right? Then we have a civil suit with Paul Barrow.
Regarding a zoning matter.
yes, sewer bill.
I thought that was resolved.
No, that one resolved. He created another one, something to do with his sewer bill went to the wrong house. He didn't pay it, and we told him he had to pay his bill, so he filed suit against us.
So he's suing us for that.
Right.
Okay, all right. And then we have the Mulvaney.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's it. Yeah, right? You can lighten up. I mean,
I
you're
wouldn't.
looking at me like I'm from outer space. Please, just relax.
Can't answer our questions.
Okay. So Ms. Bittner was hired as a full-time employee with health benefits. Are you also covered under pension?
I believe I qualify for a state pension.
Yes.
Okay. And Mayor Fox, you are her boss, correct?
Correct.
And you review her work?
I haven't reviewed it as of yet, but yes.
That's part of
Correct.
your boss, right? Okay. Are we hiring an administrator or anything?
We are not. We actually used the administrator's salary to pay Ms. Bittner.
Okay. All right. Going back to Resolution 2020-013, the meeting times and dates. The regular borough meeting is going to be the first Wednesday at 5 p.m. I'd like to make a request that perhaps in the summertime, we could have it on Friday evenings at 5 PM?
At this point, I can't do that with my job. I work full-time, I can't.
Yeah, Friday at 7. You're not working at 7, are you?
No, but I still have a family, I still have a sick mom. I can't do Friday nights. I don't know why you can't, you guys don't want to compromise. I don't think Wednesday at 5 o'clock is bad. I mean, we hold our meetings for hours at this point.
Summertime, so that other people can attend.
I understand, but if they want
We're
to,
cooperating, we're just asking a little give and take here.
I understand that, but I cannot do Friday nights.
Any other questions, folks?
Oh, I'm still talking.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm sorry.
Were there late agenda items on December 31st minutes, Donna?
I don't honestly know that off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, so the last one I have is the cancellation of the 2019 operating budget line items. And then it went, then it,
No, there were, now that you're refreshing my memory, there were additional late items on that agenda, yes. I don't know what they were off the
Okay,
top of my
so-
head. If you want to know, I can get it to you.
no, because when you do the minutes, it'll be in the minutes, right?
It'll be in the minutes,
Okay,
yes.
all right. I see on the agenda, the same agenda, that sometimes we list how much we're going to pay for a particular service and to whom we're paying it. How much will we be paying Bowman and Company this year?
I believe it's 39,000.
So that would be the same as last year?
No, it went up a little bit, like about, I think we paid them, it was 38, I think we're paying them 39.5 or 39.7 this year. I can get you the exact number, I don't know it off the top of my head.
Okay. would
It
you
went
like-
up slightly.
Okay, that would be great. Who are the designated signatures for the official depository?
The mayor, the commissioners, I'm one, Carl's one,
Is Elaine?
and Elaine. And it's not specific by person, it's by title. Because like Amy's also one too. I don't have it by person's name, or I have to do resolutions differently if employees come or go or whatever. It's by title, so it'll say Commissioner of Revenue and Finance, Clerk, the Deputy Clerk, CFO. It's in order
It's
like
the
that.
title, okay.
Yes, just the title.
Okay, and who is our local housing inspector?
Lou Ostrander.
Okay.
He's been doing that for a number of years. He's also our zoning official.
Right, I think I met him when I was doing something. The Animal Control of South Jersey. Do we have an actual contract with them
Yes.
now? Not just an invoice that says this is what we're billing for the year?
No, there's a contract.
There is a contract?
Yes.
Okay. What's their responsibility?
What's the responsibility of the animal control?
Yeah, don't we have a county thing too, or something?
That's the county shelter that we have a shared service with. They handle any animal complaints that the police department gets. Animal cruelty, if there's a stray dog running loose or whatever. They get involved when the police department gets a call, then they call in animal control. Sometimes they've come out, they've had raccoon matters. They don't do that all the time because there's a lot of wildlife, so don't think you're gonna get somebody to come out and trap your raccoon.
They come for the
It's not gonna happen. But when we've had a rabid raccoon a couple of years back, and they handle those situations.
Okay, and the county is for what? I'm sorry.
Animal shelter.
Animal shelter. Okay, all right. Solicitor Blaney is still our labor counsel. What is his contract? How much is it for, do you know, Don?
It's an hourly rate, $135 an hour, not to exceed 20,000.
Okay. That seems a little high because I think Wildwood has a contract with him for $10,000. Would there be?
That $10,000 may only be partial too. They may just be using him until they can appoint somebody else.
I'm sorry?
They may only be using him until they appoint somebody else. because they may just say, doing a holdover to lock him in for the moment, and then they might have somebody else interested in taking that over, and if not, they'll increase that, I can assure you, because he's not doing that for $10,000.
Okay,
Because I think his original contract with them was $40,000.
I don't know, I
Yeah.
just saw it on our agenda. Okay, I guess in the interest of transparency, if we're passing like resolutions or whatever we're doing, can we, I noticed this year we listed like some of the names of the different people that we're appointing, okay, or giving our money to. Like, for instance, Bowman, okay? Can we, and I really appreciate you listing that on here because it makes it much easier for us to figure it out. But can we also include in there the contract amounts so that we don't have to put so many Opers in?
Sure.
I mean, I know that gets like really monotonous doing those Opers.
Mhm.
Could we do that in the interest of transparency?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Is our calendar ready for the new year?
It is not ready now,
Okay,
but we are working on it.
okay. So, I just want to confirm this, is our in-house solicitor is an employee, so we don't have a contract with her.
Correct.
Okay. And who is the borough engineer?
Remington and Vernon.
Remington, okay. Okay, I'm good now, thanks.
Nancy, you had a question?
Yes, I was thinking, we're only, 200 acres? Why don't we just fold this all up and join with Wildwood? I mean, share the wealth with them, because it's getting too many people for us that's retired to keep on paying and paying and paying. And with the amount of people that lives here full-time, that's down here, it makes better sense for us to become part of Wildwood.
I said this before, I don't have a
We
certainly.
don't need all these employees, we don't have to worry about our flooding and everything. All the money will go into one thing, and we'll be able to live here comfortably without having to every year worry, is my taxes going up, is my sewers going up, is this going? I mean, it's getting worse. I mean, my family's been here 50 years, and it's horrible. I remember we only had 2 people running, 200 acres. I had a horse farm bigger than this. And I and my 2 kids did it. So, I mean, this is ridiculous, all these people on salaries. And we're getting lawsuits on top. It's frustrating.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but that's
It's
how
okay.
I
It's,
feel.
you're
You know,
entitled to
and
that. I agree.
I'm like up here.
Okay.
We, in, I guess, July, August, talked about evaluations, job evaluations, employee evaluations. Charles, CPAC, 507 West Poplar, very sorry. Are we going to implement, and then, of course, with Mr. Ridings, we asked him, you know, did you do the chief's evaluation? Yes, it was done orally. And we talked about written evaluations. Or, it's a new year, we're trying to, you know, maybe get things set up. Or is it on the agenda to do written evaluations of our employees?
Well, I can tell you that I've had conversation with the new solicitor in reference to that already, because I am prepared to do the ones for Public Works now. But I want to make sure that what we're doing and how we're doing it is handled correctly. So yes, we are. And you already know with the police department that the chief does theirs, and Scott now will do the chief's. So I'm sure he's going to have conversations with the solicitor as well. But to answer your question is yes.
Okay, great, that's great. So at some point, we at least, I hope the advice of the council would say that makes sense in case we do have something that happens and do, we have a written record of it, and that's excellent.
Correct.
Go on. Good. Question about, I had asked about family, and I was going to ask you about friendship. Are you a friend of Ms. Bittner?
I would say I'm a friend of Ms. Bittner's,
Okay,
yes.
so hiring the friend was also what you were accused of when it came to ethics violations that are now before the board.
Bill Blaney was my friend. Mark Caravan was my friend. I've known him for years.
That's the point.
Scott Golden's been my friend for years.
All of that is what you did. You hired.
We're
these
going to go
people
back
that
to
were
the
your friends.
opinion.
I know, but
We picked,
we'll
I
see what-
picked,
when the hearing's all done.
and the commissioners were well aware, and they had their opinions about, she wasn't just hired. They were asked about it, they were okay with it, it wasn't, I just went and said I'm hiring her. But it was a discussion that came up, they were involved, not with me, but with the, I don't know, it might have been Lane, it could have been Carl. But the bottom line was, they agreed to it, and I think it was a very good choice. Friend or foe, it doesn't matter. It was a good choice for the borough, and we're going to go with that. And let's go with the ethics violations. You want to keep bringing that up, that's okay. And I've said it a million times. Every one of them ethics violations, I did. I will stand by it again today, saying I did them all, and I believe I was right in all that I did. Ethics violations, for reading you, the police activity report, is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life, that I would be written up for that. And I'm going to deal with that. And if I'm found guilty, I will pay my fine. I will still sit here. They're not violations of crime. So, and same thing here. Hiring a friend is not the end of the world. We hired a solicitor that is worth her weight in gold, and we got a good price for it, and she will be an asset to this borough.
Well, I know you said it was serendipitous, and that's wonderful. We hope that we all can, have those kinds of opportunities show up in our lifetime. One thing you mentioned about the finance group's grievances, we had a question about nepotism, and everyone, said, oh, it's only family. But it's not, because even the sections that you were accused of said that you violated that section because of advancing the opportunity of family and/or friends. So I just want you to understand that. That's what I was referring to.
That's what they say. And again,
Section.
so when you appoint a daughter to an emergency management coordinator's position, so she can go out as a volunteer and walk up with water up to her neck, saving people, other than the benefit of saving people, I would like to know where the benefit is to
Never
me
said she
or
was
her.
a bad person.
All I'm saying, so where was the benefit? Because they said that was a benefit to me. Walking around with water up to your neck is not a benefit, I can tell you, and it certainly is for me. So bottom line was, that's another accusation I don't believe is worthwhile, and if they find me guilty, God bless them. I'll pay the fine and we'll move on, okay?
I'm sorry, your last name, are you comfortable with me calling you Amy?
I'm Amy Corbellis.
Corbellis, Ms. Corbellis. You mentioned that, let's get on with it. We talked about that 7 or 8 months ago, let's get on with it. And then, of course, we hear the mayor hires his daughter. So, we don't have anything against your daughter as a police officer. What we said was, if we're going to get on with it, where are we going to stop with all the non-transparent things? No posting of this position, this new solicitor's position, no public posting, no resume, and I would like to ask you a couple of questions. I'm getting a little fractured parts, but you were recently in Wildwood as a solicitor?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and how did you happen to be available?
I resigned from that position.
You resigned from it? Because this became available, or because you resigned from that? I'm trying to...
If it's personal, Mary, don't it's
timeline
personal.
here.
And my reasons were personal.
I'm sorry?
My reasons were personal.
No, I asked you the timeline, not personal. I didn't ask you a reason, I said timeline. Did you resign from there and then this position became available, or were you aware that this position was available and so you resigned from there?
I made the decision to resign first.
Okay, so you resigned from Wildwood, and now you're on the market, and your friend calls and says, come to work. Resignation, you resigned, and now you're on the market. A friend hears that you're on the market, and I assume the friend worked with you because he was also administrator of Wildwood, right? In the past, you being the solicitor.
We worked together in the past, yes.
Okay, in Wildwood, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, question about your wins and losses. How successful have you been as a solicitor?
I think that's a matter of opinion. In my opinion, I was very successful in Wildwood. I saved the city of Wildwood a significant amount of money in representing them in a number of lawsuits. I had them dismissed from a $7 million lawsuit against the city, which was 4 years of litigation. So I saved them hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees and representing them in that, and saved them $7 million in a judgment. I had them dismissed from a malicious prosecution lawsuit filed by Gary DiMarzo. I had them dismissed, and if you read the papers, you know how poorly that went with the county prosecutor because he was not dismissed. I handled a number of things for the city, and I think I have a very good track record coming out of Wildwood.
Does it balance 1.7 million that you won for your client? Or, I should say, won against us? Does that kind of balance it out, or, because we lost 1.7 million?
Right, you did, but I don't know if the members of the community understand that the stakes were much, much higher. There was no insurance coverage for damages that could have been assessed that were not covered by insurance. So if punitive damages had been assessed, which they would have been if Commissioner Golden and Commissioner Maxwell did anything other than they did, you would have faced much higher punitive damages if you did not bring the chief back, if you were not honest about the reasons why you brought her back. So you were spared punitive damages, and I see some heads shaking, but you were spared punitive damages. Those were just financial damages that were awarded to Chief Renz.
So we were less than deductible for JIF, but, you know, of course, that's something that, you know, what we're going to do about that. But anyhow, Amy, did you vote to hire Ms. Bittner?
I absolutely did.
No, you didn't vote.
I didn't vote. No, did I vote?
There was no vote.
Absolutely, there was
You did
no
not vote
vote.
to hire
No.
her?
There is no
When did
vote
the
to hire.
take place?
There is no
There was
vote,
no
it's an
vote.
employee.
No vote.
No.
Every other employee, you have this thing
No,
that comes
you-
up and says you're going to hire somebody, and yay and nay. No vote.
For an employee, so we hire a public works
You just
department.
said, come to work here today for 60, oh, by the way, you getting a car?
Exactly.
Is there a car in this package?
If you wanted to have one, sure.
No, is there a car in the package?
Do you want her to have one? Because I'll provide it if you like
Did I
that.
say we?
I don't, that's what I thought you wanted her to have a
No, I
car.
said, does she have a car in the package?
No,
No SUVs or anything, right?
no.
I'm somehow conflicted with the administrative role. Who's doing all the administration work?
The boss.
Thank you.
Without the administrative, and now just soliciting, you're not doing any administration work, right?
At this point in time, I've not been asked to.
Will she be doing administration work?
That'll be a decision I'm making in the future. I will ask for her expertise in certain situations, but as of right now, no.
So our question would be, do you see this as being administrative work that I could call you and talk to you, or
I can see that you can call the clerk and have a question for the clerk, and I will get that answer back to you. Yes, that's how you can do it.
we know ultimately, we hope that we get the chance to coordinate.
Coordinate what?
But you were all in favor, Amy, to have this happen when you heard about it, even though you guys didn't have a vote to bring an $80,000, $75,000 a year employee on board. He didn't mention it to you?
We discussed it, yes.
Did you say to him, no, 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 we're trying to get on with things. This would not be good for us.
I don't see where this is a bad thing.
You said you wanted to get on with things.
I absolutely do, and I will sit up
Can you
here and I will
reject him?
still say absolutely. But here, every month, you guys want to keep repeating, I think she's good for us. You guys have to give her a
I don't believe you've been to
chance.
any of the meetings that we were here.
I watched them.
No, you've
I'm
had
sorry.
hearsay. You've had hearsay.
No, I've watched the
when we-
meetings. I'm sorry, I have a full-time job.
When we
Sorry.
talk about, I know, you're full-time.
Yep.
When we talk about the fact that we want to get on with it, we've asked for certain things like transparency and no, we don't want to micromanage, but come on. You want to get on with it, you hire a friend and you don't have a vote, you discussed it after the fact, resignation or, you know, whatever, and then of course, she's available and let's bring her in and let her be that person. Is she going to do any administrative work?
I answered the question already. Charles, how many times have we answered
You
it?
saved the same salary, the administrative salary, for her salary.
That's right.
So are we paying an additional person any administrative salary right
No,
now? For
No.
administrative work?
no.
So we're going to do without an administrator?
I remember, it's funny, when Chris left, you guys, I hope we don't replace the administrator. That was your exact word. Matter of fact, I think it came from you.
Well, the question...
Now all of a sudden, it's, oh my God, we need one. It is what is it, Charles? Hold on, come on now, come on.
What work you need.
Holy cow.
But let me understand
You're unbelievable.
something. If you were now in our shoes and you were seeking transparency, why would you make another step again instead of coming to this community and saying, this person is available and this is why she's so sharp and we would like to hire her and I know I've got the authority to do it, but we would like, wouldn't that be a...
Charles, there's
extension of the-
900
of the reach of the
residents.
olive
I don't want to
branch?
reach out tonight. The voters have put us in a position to do the job that we do, and that's what we're doing. And we're here for all of the taxpayers.
Not the taxpayers.
I am here for all the taxpayers.
So you amend the voters and say taxpayers.
No, I always say taxpayers.
But you just said voters.
The voters elected us in a position to hire and fire and do the things we need to do.
But not the taxpayers.
What do you mean, not the, I'm confused by what you're saying, not the taxpayers, what?
No, see, we don't vote, and you know that, but we pay the majority of the taxes.
I don't know that you pay the majority of taxes, but you don't vote.
Come on. You know
I
that.
pay as much tax as you pay,
But
so I don't know how you can say
the
that.
problem we have, Amy, is that nobody had the guts, before it was men, to man up to him and say, that's not right, Mr. Mayor, that shouldn't be. Then the guy realized it and said, I gotta get out of this, because, I have ethics, I have integrity, and they pointed something out to me that said that maybe I've gone too far with this, and I'm gonna resign as a commissioner. Are you gonna woman up to him if he wants to do something that's not right? That you don't think he should be doing because of all the little ethical stances you've made? When you come to the public community and say to them, I want to move on, and now something would come up that would halt what you said, wouldn't that kind of, in your mind, say, maybe, hey, wait a minute, this is not right? Are you friends, by the way? With
We've known each other for 20 years, certainly we're friends.
So you're friends, okay.
Absolutely.
All right, we see.
I mean, we live behind each other, we kept our kids out of school together, they go play, yeah, certainly. Absolutely, we're
And
friends.
you were voted by the people, but the question is, could you woman up to a friend if something is not right?
Of course I can, but do I need
Well, we'd
to?
like to see it when you do it.
Okay, thank you.
No, if you say it, I believe you, and I'd love to.
Okay.
It's been yes, 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 abstain when it comes to, I could get an ethics violation on that one, so I'm going to abstain.
Well, not necessarily, because I was advised to abstain, so.
Right, because you could get an ethics violation. Speaking of ethics violations, which you did not commit, and nobody's committed them until you have your hearing, but will you ever answer one question or do anything related to his personal grievance issue that he has with the finance board? Ms.
Well-
Bittner.
What I will do with regard to them is do my best to give advice in the future that it doesn't happen again. Because I believe, there have been a number of solicitors here who did not perceive what the mayor did as ethics violations. And I think there is a new way of looking at the ethics rules, apparently, that most solicitors did not see before in other towns as well as in this town. So I will keep apprised of them to see any developments in the law, because if he is found to have committed ethics violations, I need to know that for the future.
But in a general sense, if anything personal would come up, would you, being the counsel on duty, be talking to people that's personally related? Let's say it's a trash collector or a public works person. You've got a problem with, a conflict with work and an issue that might end up with a legal situation. Would you be advising them?
An employee? No.
So you wouldn't step over and say, hey, look, that's private. You would step over and say, that's private. I can't get involved in that, right? It's not related to our business in the borough, right?
I would not advise employees on their private legal matters.
Okay, because it's not related to borough, right?
Exactly.
Okay, good. All right, Joe, thank you very much. That's my question.
Okay. Helen Reyes, 741 West Poplar. So, Mr. Mayor, you are now overseeing legal, okay?
Correct.
Do you have time for that?
Yeah, certainly I have time. Why wouldn't I have time for it?
Well, you didn't have time to file a report at today's meeting.
No, I didn't. I don't file the reports. The Public Works Department, I received a report from them, and
We didn't get one at the last meeting.
and I have 2 employees out right now that are on injury, and I only have 2 working. The last thing I'm going to do is ask them to put a report together for me when there's other things more important out there to be doing to keep the town clean and such.
You couldn't pull that together? I mean, this is 2 months now, we
I
haven't had.
I have to apologize for that, but that's the decision I made, and I'm going to stand by the decision that them doing the work out there is more important than a report at this meeting,
So 3 months, we haven't gotten the public works report.
pretty much.
You're not, okay, so
I
next
don't think
month,
so.
are we going to get 4 months worth of reports?
It's, I don't know. I
Do
don't,
you have time for that?
yes.
Right, okay. Ms. Bittner, my question to you is, going back to the previous work that you did back in 2012 on behalf of the borough. So I understand, what you're saying, and no one has a crystal ball, so for you to make a statement that had those resolutions not passed, without a doubt, there would have been another suit filed, and it would have been so much more expensive. That could be what your experience has been in other matters, but you can't say for certainty that that would have been the case. Something that I'm pretty confident about is that if you would have had Jackie Ferenc sign a release of the borough when she was reinstated to her position, when she was made whole with her salary, when she was made whole with her pension, that she would not take any action against the borough because she was made completely whole, we wouldn't be in the position that we are now with $1.7 million in the hole. What's your response to that?
That would have been ideal. That didn't happen.
Yeah, we realize that. So why wasn't that presented, and why wasn't that made a condition of her being brought back, made whole, and given an increase as well?
Well, I don't know that it's appropriate to discuss the settlement negotiations that went on, but I will say that did not happen.
That's obvious
Right,
that it
right.
didn't happen.
And it would have been ideal.
So my issue, I have a couple of issues with you being brought on, and I don't know you, so this is not personal, this is just as a result of the role that you played back in 2012. As it was mentioned earlier, you're really good at rubbing salt in the wound, Mr. Mayor.
That's your opinion.
You just like to,
That's your
and then
opinion.
say, let's look forward and let's not.
I have 900 residents
Then you
that
hire
we have to do the best for.
You bring the attorney on, where we've never had a full-time attorney before. And again, I would appreciate if somebody could get back to us for the next meeting with a number of communities our size that have full-time solicitors.
But
Okay?
regardless of whether they have it or not,
No,
I made a decision, the commissioners agree with the
Right,
decision,
and
and
again-
it's done.
Your judgment, I question.
I know you do.
regularly.
That's why I said, it doesn't matter what answer I give you, it's not going to matter. It won't matter. What decision I make, you don't care about anyway, so, and you refuse to give us the chance. No, let me finish. Listen, the bottom line is that we have asked, since even that lawsuit, even after the jury awarded it, other than a couple minor things, you don't give us the chance. Mawani, let me just say something about that, and I'm not going to say much about it. That criminal is already gone, and you don't know yet. The criminal part of that is already long. Bye-bye, it's gone. There is no criminal activity in that. So let's be clear, and you'll find it out later. So that being said, is that I think this administration, including when Mr. Maxwell was here, did a good job. Your taxes have not gone up. We have worked well through the $1.7 million that you keep worrying about.
That's your opinion.
You're not moving forward. You want to lock into this.
A reduction in property taxes as it's.
No, you wouldn't, that's not case, you know that's not the case.
Yes, it is.
It would not have been the case.
Where is this money coming from? The money tree that we're using to pay Jackie?
But your taxes
That we're using to
did
pay
not
Richard?
go up. You keep saying your taxes are going up, they did not go up.
Our taxes should have gone
No, they would have not gone down. They would have not gone down, because the school would still have the money.
My issue, Ms. Bittner, with you is the role that you played in the borough being in the position that it's currently in and will be in for over the number of years that we continue to pay this. I question your judgment by giving them the resolutions to reinstate her and to not insist that either a release be signed or she's not given her position back. I don't know why that was not done. I know you say we would have been worse off, but you know what? At this point, who knows? You don't have a crystal ball. And, just the value that you add to an employee of the borough. You're not able to assist for labor matters, you're not able to assist as the conflict resolution attorney. Like, the position was being handled by an administrator. I don't know why we have to have a full-time attorney. I don't see where there's the benefit. Maybe down the road we'll see it, but I don't see it now.
You'll see it.
You're looking about putting in the practice for formal employee evaluations. I think you should really work on tightening up the employee handbook as far as what policies and procedures are. And, because there are issues, and then you evaluate based on measuring the employees against those.
Yes, ma'am.
Kate Sampson, 205 Avenue. So I just want to say this, as you say, you've all done such a great job, and in some instances, maybe you have, but when we talk about the lawsuit, I mean, this is not just our opinion. It was said by the JIF that we ended up with this 1.7 million because we were not represented appropriately. So that's not
I hear you.
our opinion. That was the opinion of the joint insurance fund. So that's not, a feather in anybody's cap, because it really, that's why everybody shows up now, because we realize by not paying attention to what's going on, these are the things that can happen. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was the election of the commissioner, and I went to, at the last meeting, after the meeting, I spoke to John Banning here, who had run for the commissioner position as well, just to say thank you for trying to be part of this and see what can happen. And he proceeded to tell me something that I find extremely disturbing. In this small community, him doing this, he came out to his tires flattened, his gas cap, his wife and his car were both taken off. So in this small community, people are still intimidating people for wanting to make a change. And I'm not blaming anybody, nobody knows who did it. However, I think it's important that people understand what really does go on here when you come up against this administration. Everybody's so afraid of the change. And what we ask for, what I will say over and over again is honesty and transparency. And whether I want you to be the mayor or not, I totally agree and believe that people have the right to vote for who they want. And whether that be you or somebody else or any of you. But I do not, when I hear about intimidation, that's a problem.
And I'll say,
Absolutely.
and I heard the story, and I don't know whether John believes or not, but, and I don't agree with it. And I wasn't running, so
No,
regardless, but I'm saying, but it is sad. But it has nothing to do with us. If somebody did that to him, that's what they did, that's sad. That is sad, because we do not condone anything like that. But it is for a small community, that's ridiculous. And if John would have won, John would be sitting up here us with the same due respect that we're giving Amy here. So, in all due respect, so you're
I
right.
said people have the right to vote for who they want.
Right,
Mayor?
Yes.
Dave Jackson, West Papa. John, right? You had all that done.
Yes.
Day after?
No, it was during.
Oh, really? What more did you have done?
Excuse me?
What, tires flattened?
Tires flattened and they messed with the gas tanks on the cars.
No, it's not.
You have that done? You had it done
I'm used to it, though. My tires are always, somebody's messing
Did I have it done?
Or
No.
they marked my car.
That's because it's us, we did it, I guess. Unreal.
Well, I'm not a mean and
All right,
vindictive.
folks, all right.
I'm not a mean and vindictive
It's, and again,
person,
it's sad.
sorry.
Everybody knows, sad. Go ahead,
Sad.
Charles. It is wrong, is right. I agree.
Our bond issue you mentioned for the repairs, and I know you mentioned there was some grant money as well. What is our current rating as far as our bond?
Double A.
What rating?
Double A. Double A.
Double A.
Yes.
So in this market, are they triple tax exempt as well, or?
I don't know that.
So we should be getting a very low rate.
We normally, depends on how much you borrow. If, the more you borrow, the better rate you get, yes.
Bittner, again, timelines, I'm just trying to understand something. The mayor mentions that you've been close friends for 20 years.
I didn't say close friends, I said friends,
Okay.
okay?
So, in 2012 is when that whole thing happened with the police chief. You were friends at the time with the mayor, who, with his paramour, was involved with an issue with a borough that cost us $1.7 million, right?
Oh, God.
You're asking if we were friends in 2012?
You were friends and you gave advice to your friend for the borough business, which resulted in...
She didn't give me no advice, so we're clear. Don't, Charles, you're going again. Here we go again.
What was that?
That had nothing to do with me. Pardon me?
That advice wasn't to the commissioners?
What, to Commissioner Maxwell and Commissioner Golden.
What to do, right?
Yeah, but not me. You say the mayor. You
You guys
can't.
didn't talk about it?
No, not at all. I can tell you as a
Why
fact.
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you talk about it? It's your paramour. She's involved in something.
You're amazing.
You wouldn't have
You
one thing
are
to say
just
about it.
amazing. You're amazing. You're
You
amazing.
push them to follow your...
You're just
lockstep
amazing.
with everything else.
You think that. Keep saying it.
So 2012, you were
He's sad.
friends, you were, did we pay you out of the borough money, Ms. Bittner, for your advice?
Yes, I billed for my time.
Okay. I'll tell you one thing that really would have made a lot of sense tonight. If you sat in that chair and said, not only do I represent them, but I'm going to fight tooth and nail for every one of you in this community, that anybody brings a lawsuit, I'm going to be as successful with those lawsuits as I've been in my past. But you didn't have that in you to say it, did you? So we felt a bit of confidence that you're out there working on our behalf. You can't answer our questions directly, but working on our behalf, that you would fight tooth and nail to win against any lawsuits that someone would bring against this borough and the taxpayers. Would have been nice.
You know
If
what
you
else?
had that in your
You know what else would have been
feeling
nice?
of understanding.
You know what else would have been nice? If at the last meeting that was held, the work session, I didn't have someone make disparaging comments about me, which were defamatory. And if it happens again, I'm going to seek legal recourse.
Against the taxpayers. Okay.
Well, because, and I'm glad you brought that up, Mary, because Bob Bradley, who's not here tonight, and you, and everybody who was here, Kate, you were here, that an apology is owed to her, because the comments he made about her were wrong, were 100% wrong. I don't know who he was talking about, but he was 100% wrong. John, you were here as well, and it was bad. The things that he said about her were they not bad, John? They were bad.
I don't remember all of it that he said.
You sat right there behind him.
He said something about, he did say a few things.
It was bad. And so you're right. So what Ms. Bittner's saying, and he does owe her an apology for what he said, was if you're talking about somebody else, you get it wrong. He sat there and he was adamant it was her. And he was wrong. So it's sad. And this is what we're talking about, slashing tires and taking gas. That's no better as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, Charles, finish up.
Just so we're clear, nothing I said tonight was disparaging to you, was it?
No.
Okay, thank you. One more question, and that's about best practices, that you would not discuss best practices. In the world of management, best practices is nothing more than a quality endeavor. It's how am I going to do the best job that I can so that you will add value to our community. Value add is what everybody seeks in the management world. And just because we're, public, doesn't mean we're not supposed to follow those good guidelines. If you haven't sat down yet and itemized what it is that you're going to do for us as a community, those best practices should be mentioned, don't you think? And you shouldn't shy away from them and say, I'm not going to discuss with you how quality is going to be now instituted into this borough management group. Every one of you should have that as a project plan, that I'm going to put down on this paper what I'm going to do for this community, the taxpayers, and the contribution I'm going to make, so that you are a value add to us and not a detractor from value.
Yes, Kate.
Just one last thing. Kate Sampson, 205 Avenue. Amy, this is to you, as you said, about you having a full-time job, which I totally respect. I want people to realize that many of us have full-time jobs, and we come all the way from the city to come to these meetings that keep getting changed to 3 to 7. Friday was wonderful. We obviously realize that you are never going to do this again, no matter what. But I mean, just so you know, that when I come down here, and several of us do come down here, we are also taking vacation time. And I come because I think it's important. But, so it's, a lot of us do take vacation time to be here.
Thank you.
Lou Reamer, 537 West Pine. Where's our contract for the trash removal? Where's that at?
I'm sorry, the contract for what?
Yeah, the trash removal? Is that one of the big items?
The trash pickup, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was just.
We
Now,
just,
a lot of other towns is like.
we renewed that recently. We just renewed that recently. Donna, it was Earth Tech. Who is it now?
I'm sorry.
It's still Earth, well,
It's Gold Medal Environmental.
How many years is the contract?
5 years.
You got 5 years contract?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was awarded in September of this year, of last year, I'm sorry, 2019.
Yeah.
Last year, somebody else took over though, right? Or-
yeah, Earth Tech owned it, and then Earth Tech sold it to Gold Medal, I believe.
Correct.
But it went out to bid.
Yes.
Let clarity be here.
Okay.
It went out to bid, public bid. They just didn't give the contract to Gold Medal. There was a public bid process,
Right.
and it was
We're
awarded in
locked for
September.
5 years, right?
Yes.
That was the best base price that the commissioners felt, and that's
Yeah.
what they
I know a
went.
lot of other towns are trying to get it back because it's skyrocketing.
Yeah, we actually looked into that, but believe it or not, the price they gave us was actually it was only a little bit above what we're paying now, so we thought it was feasible just to stay with them. Thank you, Lou. Yes.
Mary Ann Welch, 741 West Poplar. So again, before the solicitors were on retainer, and this year you brought in this Vintner, full-time employee. As a result of the change, will any current employees be displaced, laid off, or anything?
No,
Okay, so no change in the current.
correct.
Okay. I wanted to ask Amy, at the last meeting, I believe Trish asked you what your goals, plans are, and you said you would get back. Can you share those with us?
I'm still working on some things, and I promise you by the next meeting, I will have it all in place.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, Ms. Bittner, can you give us an update on the Mulwiney lawsuit?
There is a scheduled mediation.
Scheduled mediation.
Yes, that's all I can say about the litigation.
When is that scheduled? Can you give us a date?
It's in February, I don't recall the exact date.
Okay, so I guess is the discovery period ended, or are you still in the discovery period?
Still in the discovery period.
Okay, and the mediation, is that, I thought, well, arbitration didn't work, or mediation didn't work? I thought
And
mediation didn't work.
they just rescheduled it. So apparently they're going to reach to it one more time.
Okay, so they're gonna try again before they go to court?
Correct.
Try to reach a settlement?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what JIF feels is best interest of it?
JIF has their opinions about it. We have our opinions about it. They just soon settle almost any case. So yes, they always feel the need, rather than spend a lot more money they'd like, they would rather settle.
How about an update on the conflict council?
I don't have an update on that.
Okay, can you find out for the next meeting, get an update on the conflict?
Well, there is no update, though. That's what she's saying to you. There's no updates on it. It's status quo right now. They're trying to get all discovery in reference to everything, and it has nothing to do with, they're not even talking, if you're talking about Brady letters, there's no discussion right now about Brady letters. That conflict attorney's handling the one matter of an employee, and that's trying to get the discovery for the case in order to have the hearing officer hear the case.
I'm sorry, have the hearing officer what?
In order to hear the case and have the hearing officer hear the case, they're still getting all the discovery together for all the councils in order for that to move forward with the hearing.
Carl, how about an update on Living Shoreline?
Right now, the attorney, Mr. Schlager, has filed with the courts. Let me see. It was on December 26th. We had a meeting with him. We got everything squared away. He's filed for eminent domain, a verified complaint, which makes us the complainant, actually. And we will have to wait until the court decides what takes place after that. But having filed the verified complaint, once they accept that, we become the complainant in it. She still is fighting. So that's what we have to do. I've got word from the Coastal Coalition on a few things.
Can you share that with us?
Yes. The Coastal Coalition is going to work with me, as they will with anybody that happens to be trying to do a project like this. There are just a few around in this area. Most of them are up more towards the north. And also I'm in contact with NOAA, because I think our funding is going to come through NOAA more than anything. We have two colleges on board with us. Right off the top of my head, I can't remember both of them. We also have the DEP on board with us. The Conservancy, the Nature Conservancy is on board with us. I think we've got a chance, but it's all going to depend on funding, quite naturally. And it's also going to depend on the outcome of this lawsuit for eminent domain. I can't see where we're not going to win in this. Basically, she's asking for a lot of money for land that is underwater most of the time. She can't develop it. You'd have to have millions of dollars to be able to develop something like that and be ready to and willing to fight. I think, again, there has to be a little patience. First, we have to get past the eminent domain. Once we get past that, I think it's going to be at least in our favor to get something done.
What's the settlement cost of?
Just give your name and address, please.
Sorry, Joe Klein, 750?
I don't know. We
So-
won't know until after they've gotten everything done.
But I mean, to go to eminent domain, you have to pay fair value for that land that you're taking, correct? Am I
Yeah,
right
we
in that?
think, Donna just informed me, she thinks it's a total of 17,000 for the ground.
Just 17,000, really?
Yeah, but she won't accept it.
Right.
We're talking about land that's mostly underwater.
Yeah.
I mean,
if that's what the assessed value is, it came from an assessor, right? It's not just what
and
we
they
own.
can get an assessor also who will, it's just like anything, you know, you can get an assessment on what the damage to your car is, and then the insurance company will get an assessor to take a look at your car damage, and suddenly it isn't that much.
Right.
So this is actually working in the opposite direction, but she has attorneys, we have an attorney,
Okay.
so I'm hoping that it will be a short run in front of the judge. But you know as well as I do, you can't depend on how short the run's going to be and how big a caseload these judges have.
Yes, ma'am.
Colin Ray, 731 West Marshall. Carl, who's representing us with the,
Charles Schleicher.
is this something that has been worked with?
No, this is something that was started by this firm, and he works for Caravan and Blaney.
So have we already paid up in full, or?
No, we don't know what this is going to cost. It's like any case.
So this could go on and on and on, so.
I
there's
can't
no-
picture it, but can it? Yeah, anything can go on and on and on.
And I can
I'm
tell
not
you
gonna
that
sit
the
here and
question
tell
you want
it
to
isn't
ask me the
going-
question, because Carl will
it's a
know the
short
answer.
case.
That if it gets to a certain point where we believe that it's absolutely going to save us money to switch to Ms. Bittner to handle this case, she will in fact be handling that case, if that's where you're going.
Well, where I'm going is the reason Ms. Bittner was hired was to see about saving the borough some money.
And again-
Her skills and.
Correct. And Caravan and Blaney are handling the case. I want to see, the bottom line is it comes down to, if Noah turns around tomorrow and says, we're not funding this, we are cutting the project off anyhow, we're not going to be taking any partial for eminent domain because there's no reason for it anymore. So we're not going to rush this thing through because we got to find out if Noah's going to fund this, because if they don't, we're not.
But we're already paying an attorney for the eminent domain.
I understand it, but why would you go?
Why not have the in-house attorney step in now?
Because it's not,
Before we spend more money
because it's not moving right now.
that might
Because it's not moving right now. It's in a lull right now. And it's going to stay in a lull for a little while. And we will make a decision on what Ms. Bittner is going to do when the time comes.
Attorney now,
I'm well aware of that.
but we're paying another attorney.
I'm well aware of that as well.
Okay, this is why I question your judgment.
I know that.
Yeah.
I understand. And I don't know if that'll ever change, so that's okay.
Well, you've got to give me a reason.
Well, I don't know that that'll ever come
You've got
out.
to step up and give me a
I
reason
don't
to
know.
make a change,
I'd love to be able to. I don't know. I really don't know.
because we all would like that.
Yes.
I lost my train of thought. I didn't have another- I'll get back to you.
Mayor, was the new bulkhead on our beach, like the highest water it could ever be, 100 years or whatever?
I don't know.
I just have like a brainstorm. Again, brainstorming, there's no bad ideas. You know, we spent a lot of money, 1.7 for this and all 300 for that. What, did anybody ever do what it would cost to put that wall all the way around our island so our valley really is built up because we're going to flood, or anybody just do a?
No.
It's something I had brought up with Coastal Coalition, and they're ready to walk away from you when you say build a permanent wall. This is
No,
dealing with a
I'm
bunch
talking
of.
about raising every one of the bulkheads so that it's at the highest point, like our beach bulkhead is. What would that cost us? And we put it on to the community and say, hey, to never kind of have water coming over your bulkhead, all you have to do is raise it 3 foot and N number of dollars, I mean, just as a.
Mayor,
Can
I just interrupt? At the coastal, I'm the representative for the Coastal Coalition, and they brought up at this December meeting just that question you just asked. And apparently there is I'll try and get you the information. You're not going to like to hear it. But their idea is to erect a wall, not a bulkhead, inside your property, inside your bulkhead. Hit a height, and it's going to be high. A lot of people are going to lose view. And even if you're downstairs or sitting on your dock, you've got a concrete wall looking at you. It's like a dike around these areas. It acts as a wonderful breakwater, but apparently this is the ideas that are now coming up that are fundable, believe it or not. But I'll get you some more information on that, because as soon as they said that, you got to remember, most of us are all along the Jersey coast, and you could hear the groan right through the room.
It's just that we're finite, Carl, we're like one circle here, and,
Oh, sure.
If it can be, it can be. I see the ribbon that FEMA put on the telephone pole in front of my place, and, it's pretty high, and I thought, well, okay, one wall. All right.
Yeah, it would probably be the most expensive wall we ever saw.
Yeah, I'm thinking wall.
And again, I'm not so sure something like that would truly and honestly work, especially on what is under our
We have
hard
some?
ground on top. Because you got to
I know.
drive pilings
I'm just kidding.
down.
Well, no, because we never
the
followed
clay-
it.
The clay base.
Well, I would wait on that. We're almost done now.
Eminent domain.
Okay.
Going to my question, Helen Ray of 741, West Palmville. And I just forgot, you were talking about the conflict resolution attorney.
Yes.
So, and you said they, I say he, but I don't know if it's a man or woman, they are working on one matter.
Correct.
And it's related to litigation.
Correct.
So is that in addition to, so I know about the Mulaney
Well,
litigation, like what is this?
It's a personnel matter. It's not litigation. It's a personnel matter. It's an employee which we can't discuss.
Okay, but they're
Okay.
not suing us.
No. Nancy, go ahead.
I wanted to refer to what Carl was saying about a wall. My parents first started out, we put a wooden wall, then we put a cement wall. Well, the cement wall is just all breaking up. Now, I, a few years ago, put in a plastic one with the thick, and it's great, I'll tell you. If everybody could put one of them up for a bulkhead. Even my pilings are covered in plastic. And it's really a great deterrent for water coming in. I mean, knock on wood, it's been really good, but I have neighbors on each side still have the old cinder block, which just leaks and comes up. But if we could possibly get the island covered that way, we would be pretty safe.
But it isn't just a matter of the bulkhead. It's also a matter of the backfill, the dead men, everything else involved.
Yeah.
And the backfill is even one of the most important things. You've got to watch what people backfill with.
Right.
You can't, you put certain backfill back there, and you might as well just have an open drain. The water will come right through the bulkhead and right
So
through.
the guys that did mine is really professional, they had it done right, it's really good, but, I mean, that would be a great idea if we could get the island, everybody around there, we would have no water problems whatsoever.
Thank you, Nancy.
Wow.
Yes.
Susan Selena, 547 West Maple. Amy, you mentioned that you watch the meetings online.
Yes.
Do you think that's beneficial to have them online for people that can't make the meetings,
Sure, why not?
your opinion?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Would you vote that the borough pay for it?
I mean, I don't know how much it would cost. I mean, we would have to sit down and discuss that.
Well, you're in charge of revenue and finance.
I get that.
so
I'm not sure how
I
much
can
it
tell-
costs.
I can tell you how much it costs after the meeting,
Okay.
okay?
Sure.
And then maybe, we can put that into the budget. The living shoreline. I think back at the December meeting, not the workshop, the regular meeting, we were talking about $80,000 worth of checks. Was that right?
That's correct, yep.
Did we find out what we were paying for? What that 80,000 was actually?
I don't know exactly what was paid for. We only clarified the fact it was 80,000 plus that was, and it was for the Living Shore line. And after discussing, Carl and I had a long discussion. Pardon me?
Engineering.
I'm sorry?
Engineering.
Most of it's, okay, engineering was a majority of it. And I thought there was no attorney's fees, like Bill, did anybody else have anything to do with
I
that?
don't believe there were. The only ones I saw that were
Okay.
engineering fees.
Right. But it's a good, and again, I think I said it to, that we would turn around, it's a good project if we can move forward. If it gets to the point where there's no funding, then it's no longer a good project. But if we can move forward and we get NOAA to agree to the funding, it's well worth it. Believe me, 80,000 is well spent.
Okay, so that 80,000, and I can't remember really who was talking about it, but something about, the checks started in June and ended in August or something? Is that right?
Yeah, right. I think it was 2 years, yes.
But nobody knew anything about it. What,
Well, Rodney's did know about it, because I did speak to Chris, and Chris was well aware of it as administrator, and it was through Commissioner Golden, he still is over that project. But we did find out that Rodney's knew about it, and that it was coming out of a bond that we have for 26th Street, and that's what it was being paid out of, a capital improvement bond.
okay. I have a question for Ms. Bittner. You said you resigned from Wildwood, correct?
Correct.
I gotta go to the bathroom, I'll be heading out.
Were you on a contract with them, or were you an employee?
I was an employee.
You were an employee, so you had health benefits and everything, correct?
I did.
Okay. I think I read in the paper that you had, maybe you could verify this, a contract with them for 4 years, and your 4 years was up? And it wasn't-
They gave me an employment contract for part of my term there.
Okay, and did that end December 31st?
Yes, my employment would not necessarily have ended, but the contract with guaranteed salaries and things like that would have terminated.
Okay, so you just resigned? You said,
Correct.
I don't want any more. Okay, do you still maintain a private practice?
No, I do not.
So you're devoted to our borough here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Amy, you gotta
Yes.
call it.
Now, just, Ms. Bittner, again, to get the thought process together, the way of thinking, did you advise Chris Giuliani that this could be inflammatory to bring you on board as an employee and as a solicitor?
I don't know that I advised him it would be inflammatory. We discussed the pros and cons of being an employee versus billing separately as a contract solicitor.
So you had no foresight of what this decision, hiring you, could have with the implications that we all mentioned this evening? You didn't foresee?
I didn't expect this level of animosity.
Geez, I gotta take issue with animosity, because we don't have that. All we're trying to do is find out information. We're really trying to find out, since we didn't have the chance to know anything about you, or where you were coming from, or wasn't posted, or were there other candidates, all those things. That's animosity. That's information that we deserve as a citizen of a community. I really hope that you would, rethink animosity, because it wasn't meant that way. It wasn't meant adversarial either. We keep trying to say, we want this to work for us, you, everybody. It's not about adversarial relationships. And we keep hearing that come over the table, but we keep trying to say, we're just trying to find out the information, because it's not being shared. And here you were hired and it wasn't shared until you were hired. So you see, we have standing for, saying what's next. But there would be some foresight, some thinking process. I know you probably would have gone through and said, gee whiz, with all the stuff that's going on there, Chris, we've got to be, cautious, prepared, see how it's going to happen. None of that took place, huh?
Well, I'm not going to share all our conversations.
I'm sorry?
I'm not going to share all our conversations.
Yeah, I know, but again, to get to know your way of thinking and your prowess in, handling things. Are you on the balls of your feet, ready to go left, right, front, back, or just let it be, right? Thank you.
Any other questions, folks? I apologize for that. Hearing none, I close this portion of the meeting to the floor, and thank you all for coming out, and we will see you next month. Enjoy your month off.
Closed session.